You gotta get up. Body me wake up and make a move. Oh. Cause the world will never see you until you do. Them no really care, see they do you. Oh. So make you show them, baby. Oh yeah, show them the real you. Oh yeah, show them what till you get. No, don't let them say what you not. I want you strong, oh. You can't break, no. You want more than 1,000 reasons why. You don't need to perfect, baby. Cause nobody perfect, darling. No, there's nobody in the world will be like you. What do you do when you can't let go? What do you do when you just don't know how you feel? And you know, say nobody feel your pain. Can you cool untinity alive? Everybody running, always not day by day. We dey struggle for this world.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Touch and Sell Show with Toyin and the gang. I'm your host, Toyin Adesola, and this is another edition that we're going to be talking about the Finding Your Voice series. For those of you who don't know, this is Sickle Cell Awareness Month, and the general theme we have chosen is Together We Can. And together we can have a voice to speak about sickle cell. Together we can create changes about sickle cell. Together we can create succor and support to people living with sickle cell. And we can also provide advocacy and policies that would help change and help and support people with sickle cell. So today we're going to be talking about another interesting topic, and I have a nice guest. She's a friend of the house. Maybe those of you don't know her. I'll get her to introduce herself. But most important thing, she's a techie, proper techie. And you will see why in a minute. And I'll bring her on. Okay. Hello, Banke.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Toyin. So lovely to see you.
Yeah, great to have you again. This is the first time for you doing the online show, though. You always do the radio parts.
Yes. I've been on radio, so thank you for having me on the live show.
It's good. So let's do it this way, because I want to bust the bio things. Who is Banke Alawaye? I asked somebody this question, and the person was going the typical. Oh, Banke is from the so states. She's this. She's the father of this. I said no, that is not. I'm not asked what you are. Ooh. What are your values? What are your beliefs? What are your
you know, Toyin, sometimes it's a little hard to answer that question. I did an interview just a few days ago, and somebody said, "Tell us about the real Banke," and I'm like, "This is the real Banke." So Banke is part techie, part warrior, part mother, part daughter, part sister, all those things roll into who Banke is. And I think that the thing that maybe the listeners will be interested in is that, yes, I'm a warrior. I'm going to be 50 soon. So, yay for me. Next month.
Yeah, we were in the memorable ages.
Yes. And I think for us that grew up with sickle cell in the 70s, we sort of have a tale to tell.
Mm-hmm.
But I've gone on to have a career in technology. I now am program manager to projects like Code Lagos, Ready Set Work. And I also offer, I'm CTO at A-Cube Limited. So at A-Cube, we do digital transformation, financial advisory, and project management for businesses. And I also teach small businesses how to use technology for their business, how to use it to be more efficient. And so you can see it's the whole tech thing going on there.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm also a warrior, and I like to help other warriors like work through their issues, provide support, provide just like some sort of anchor that they can see that, we're warriors, we have our challenges, but we can thrive. So I guess maybe that kind of describes who Banke is.
Now people will say, ah, I wonder you're doing so much because people always meet me like that. They're like, ah, how come you're doing this? Like recently, just revealed my artistic part of me, and I was like, you didn't tell me you paint. I didn't know you're an artist.
Wow.
So how do you, as warriors? You haven't seen the link, I'm sure. Have you? I will show the link to you guys soon. But anyway, but as warriors, I always find it interesting when people just have this a mindset that okay, because you're a warrior, you're not able to do so many things, and that has sort of
Yeah. Mhm.
how would I call it, boxed people with sickle cell in a particular way, so that even
Yeah.
those coming ahead of us, should I say, already have this mindset that they cannot do so much. Oh, I'm so this, I cannot do that. So how do you manage as banker to, how will I call it, multitask in all these areas of facets, and
you know,
use all these facets, because God has given us so many gifts.
that's it. My sister jokes about this, and she says that God gave me the brains to make up for the I guess the physical
Strength, yes.
limitations. And I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. I think maybe if you're lying in bed sick so much, you have more time to read. I don't know. For me, that's my
Mm,
theory anyway. I feel like I spent a lot of time recuperating, that I had a lot of time to read and learn a lot of stuff. And I'm able to quickly pick up new skills. So
mhm,
just give me
mm,
instructions for something and give me a few hours to review it, and I can probably do it like a pro. I mean, not brain
mm.
surgery, but general tech things. So how do
Exactly.
I multitask? I think it's just that um, I'm able to, I like being busy. One, I think that's one. I like to keep my mind busy, to keep myself busy. So I do what I enjoy. So it may look like I'm really busy, but I'm having fun doing all these things. And as long as I'm enjoying it, I can keep at it. And then over the years, I've also learned how to manage my energy, manage my physical limitations, know sort of how to balance resting and
Mhm.
being
Okay.
busy and all of that. And sometimes I do sit out some things. I mean, I don't always do everything that my friends can do. We all go on holidays together. Everybody might decide to go out. I might decide what I need is sleep. Yes, we're already here. I mean, the holiday, but I need sleep when you guys want to be prancing around. So it's kind of learning how to balance your energy and not letting anyone tell you what you can and cannot do. Try it. Push yourself
Yeah.
to the edge, see what your body can manage.
Exactly, exactly. So this month we have this theme, Together We Can, as regards sickle cell awareness month. What do you think of the theme? Because I know generally there was a conversation going on in a group a couple of days back, and we were talking about how the perception of sickle cells always portrayed in one way, one particular way, which is show their negative sides of things, like okay, they are always sick. You see all the legosas, all the I was even telling the person that I
I
belong, sometimes I
feel
belong to
you.
some, I belong to some
Honestly,
American
sometimes I
society.
see I see those things and I quickly swipe past. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, things, let's move on. There are better images than this.
So you have, and I said I was saying that to the person that it's not really restricted just to Nigeria. I also see it in some US groups where people themselves do that. They portray all that, oh, I'm in hospital, we don't say anything outside of that part of that person's life. How do you think, with a team like Together We Can, how do you think we can portray a better side? Is like the way the outside world sees Africa. They see the Ethiopian famine victim, the same thing with sickle cell. We just see
Yes,
one narration of it. How do you
yes.
think, as with that kind of thing, we can gather more information to be able to show the positive sides of our stories?
Well, I think that's what we're doing here, Tony. I think
Mm,
it's important that we continue to have conversations like this, that we continue to share our story in a positive way. I think it's the same thing where sometimes people would say that they don't see positive role models in various ways. It's like some people would even say they don't see women in tech. I think it's all the same. It's that the people who are there, who are doing well, have a responsibility to actually step up and show up.
mm,
And I realize that a lot of people living with sickle cell don't like to come out and say that they're living with sickle cell. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want people to know. And I understand that there is
mhm.
that. I mean, it's still in this age and time, there is still some stigma with having sickle cell. But if you don't, if the people who are doing well don't take it upon themselves to be the voice, to come out and speak, to be seen as an example of somebody who has sickle cell, who is still,
Mm,
who's doing well and who's living positively and all that, then it's hard for there to be any images to share. It is the people that they know that they're going to share
yeah,
images of. I totally agree with you. I don't like to
that's
see people living with sickle cell that all they show is the, I'm in hospital or I have a leg ulcer part of it, because there are other times when things are going well for you. And I think it's important that we show when things are going well as well, because it allows the people, maybe younger people who's just having kids with sickle cell, younger people with sickle cell, to see that there's hope. There is
hope.
I can succeed. I'm not destined to not do much. Because that's, I mean, to find adults who even say don't bother to spend too much on a child with sickle cell because they're not going to do much. You know, it's still for me very sad that we're having those kind of conversations at this time, when if we could
Mm,
just gather, I don't know, more people like you and I together to like let them know that, you know, we there's hope. That it's not all doom and gloom. You see, in life, we all are going to be faced with some sort of challenges. And we're all going to pass away sooner or later. And it's not only about
yeah,
sickle cell. So it's like, don't hold on to this cross, like, oh, I have this. So then that means that I can't see beyond it. Yeah, so I think really, Tony, it's that we have to continue to share our message. We have to continue to have this kind of conversations, to be out here talking about it, sharing the information that we have, and just getting more people to feel comfortable talking, to realize that
yeah.
talking about it does not diminish you. It's not going to mean that you're not going to get some opportunities. You actually may get more opportunities because you are willing to step up and talk.
Yeah, that's true. Because I remember when I first started, people were like, oh, how can you go out and be talking about sickle cell? How can you do this? And to tell you the truth, if I did it, I don't think my life would have gone this way. I have experienced more opportunities that I ever could have
Mm,
thoughts in my wildest
imagine.
dreams, you know.
Hmm.
And you see people, it's either people thinking of you as an inspiration or people seeing what you're doing and wanting to even help you towards it, whether it's giving you finance, whether
Yeah.
it's giving you physical support, or whatever it is. But we're talking about passing a message. Now you have decided to tell your own story in a
Yes.
book.
Yes. Yes.
And the
Yes,
book
Toyin, I
title is
have.
called The Warrior Within.
The Warrior Within, and it's coming out next month, just in time for my birthday. And if you would like a copy, please head on over
Ding,
to my
ding,
social
ding,
media and let me
ding, ding,
know.
all the alarm bells going on. So, my question is going to be two in one.
Okay.
What do you see yourself as using the term warrior? You know, in our days, let's face it, it was sickler. She's a sickler, he's a sickler. Then we now had of this new term warriors,
Warriors.
and none of us has embraced it. So for Banke, what do you see yourself as with that word warrior, and why did you even title your book Warrior Within?
You know, it's funny. I think you were the first person that used the term warrior to me. Um, I was, yeah, when we were growing up, everybody said sickler. And honestly, I didn't think much of it back then,
Then,
about
yeah.
whether or not it meant anything or it was a negative word or anything like that. I didn't really think much of it back then.
Mm.
But when I started to hear the term warrior, I thought to myself, like, well, it was warrior. Are we fighting? We're not fighting now. But as I continued to then step forward and talk about my circumstances and my journey,
Mm.
I realized just that I was blessed. I actually even think that a lot of the things that I thought I was struggling with, people were even struggling with so much more.
Yes.
And I came to appreciate that word warrior, as in what we're going through, what we go through every day. Um, Surviving every single crisis, Toyin, is like going through war.
War.
Every single crisis you have, that excruciating, mind bending pain that you go through that sometimes can go on for days, surviving that is
Mm-hmm.
like, so I started to understand why this word warrior had been coined, and we were believing ourselves to be warriors. And I felt that as I started to talk to more people with sickle cell and was referring to them as warriors, it also helped them feel a bit better about themselves. That
Yeah.
word was so much more positive, gave so much
Empowering.
more energy, so much exactly empowering, that people felt more in control or able to take control of their lives as a warrior
Mm.
rather than as a sickler. And I started to see then that even saying this sickler thing, it just kind of meant it was almost like even the word itself made you feel sick, So yes, I've embraced being a warrior. Why did I use the word? I thought about many. Well, I considered many titles for the book, but I kept coming back to the warrior within. And the reason I kept coming back to the warrior within as was for me personally, I feel that in my early years, I wasn't very strong. I wasn't
Mm.
very positive. I was expecting to die soon. So I
Mm.
didn't really try very hard at a lot of things. But when I switched, or when my mind got to the point where I started to think, you know what, just put your best foot out there. You can be whatever you want to be, it was by like drawing from some strength within. So that warrior within just really connected with me. And as I tried various titles for the book, I just realized that warrior within meant so much to me. It also means so much to me, not only for sickle cell, but just generally in the way that I share with people, trying for you to just know that you can overcome whatever circumstances
Mm.
that you're going through. A mindset shift can help you just overcome, feel better about yourself, be more positive. So yeah,
Mm.
that's where I came with Warrior Within.
Yeah. But it's even when I saw it, because I know when you sent me the draft, I was like, okay, I know it's just the book draft. So when I now
Yes,
saw the title,
I
when I now saw
know.
the title, I said, wow, Warrior Within. I was like, hi, I wish I had that title for my own. It sounds like it's like
But
some, when you have like there's a row within about to burst.
I really
Maybe
hope that people feel like that about it. Like when they read it, they kind of feel a little energized, positive, feeling like, yes, I can. That's what I hope
exactly.
people take away from it. Yes.
Exactly. So we'll talk more about it, but I'll now go into the bit about somebody's make. Let me even add it. Somebody made a comment here, and I feel it's a great issue with people with sickle cell. It says we need stronger and more positive mindsets. Everyone has mental issues, nothing to do with being HPSS, and I agree. And which brings
Yes.
me to question of situation where you find warriors feel they don't amount to anything, they can't do anything. You've been somebody who has even delved into tech. I've had to talk to warriors too, especially ladies, and when they hear anything tech, they get no. And for me, I don't see it. I was never a tech person. I was never a science student. uh for those of you who don't know my story, I didn't even, when people were in secondary school, I was at home, and when people entered university, when people finish university, I just entered. So I was never a techie person, but I can do graphics, design graphics. I can design a website to a plain website. So I wonder whether it's to do with, is it, do you think it's to do with the way we are brought up, or do you think it's to do with fear or just societal issues?
Hmm. There are many things there. I
Hmm.
think that for a lot of people living with sickle cell, or even any other chronic illness, because I think it's a mindset thing. The people, when you're a child, the people, the adults around you are either trying to like shelter you, keep you safe, keep you well, so they don't allow you to do a lot of stuff,
Hmm.
or they've decided that, well, this child is probably going to die soon, so again they don't allow you to do a lot of stuff. So for whatever reason, you start off with um, not having or not being given too many opportunities or too many chances to do things. So I think that for any normal individual, if you're not encouraged to do things, it's going to affect you when you get to that age where you're now supposed to be
Hmm.
self-sufficient. Because when you were younger, nobody actually gave you that um,
Push.
that push and that drive. So that's one thing that can affect someone's mindset. I
Hmm.
think also, the thing, and I think we've talked about this before, even for the person who's had the best mindset or whatever, there's also that fear of, can I really deliver? I don't know if I'm going to fall sick. I don't know if I can, you question yourself. Do I want
Mhm.
to put myself forward? What if I fall sick? I don't want to let them down. Hey, let me just not do it. You yourself talk yourself out of
Out there.
opportunities because you're already second guessing yourself and doubting yourself and not really sure whether you should put yourself forward. So the problems are multifaceted and
Hmm.
multi-layered. And I think the best we can do is to have, again, like I said, this kind of conversations for people to be able to see others that they can look up to and say, well, she's doing it. How is she managing to do it? Perhaps if I can talk to her, I will get an idea of what I need to do. And that's the only way we can help others, by just making sure that they can see that we're here, we're doing things, and they can like copy and take an example from what we're doing. And then I guess maybe the other thing is, I think with tech, really, a lot of people, especially women, and I don't know why, once they pass that teenage years, they sort of feel like, oh, tech is for boys.
Hmm.
And then usually when they're kids, they're really interested in tech up till like 12, 13. Then they start saying, oh no, it's not technology, it's something else I'm interested in. So there's a whole lot that needs to be done to encourage women, to more girls to be interested in tech, so that by the time they reach the age where they're choosing careers, they'll be able to choose careers in tech. So I think your average person who feels that they are not techie, even the things you say, such as, oh, I can do graphics or a simple website, they think it is so complex. And until they have someone
Yeah.
show them and teach them that
Them.
these things
Hmm.
are so simple that if you can use a modern smartphone and you can point and click on your computer, a lot of tech that is available nowadays, you can use it, you can do it. So that even has nothing to do with whether you have sickle cell or not. It's just really being open to try things and to learn new things. And I share a lot of tips on my Instagram on
Which, yeah.
just simple ways in which you can use tech to make your life easier, to schedule things and in business and all of that. And I find that a lot of people do come back and say, oh, okay, I didn't realize it was just that. Oh, you mean I can do it myself? So it's really just being open, having access to information. Those kind of things help people to be able to pick up little things in tech. But for people with sickle cell, I think it starts way before we get to choose the
Yeah.
career. Yeah, that's where the
Hmm.
problem starts, the mindset issue starts. Yeah.
Okay, which brings me to parenthood because, like you said, it starts from the beginning. And you're a mother. How have when did you tell your daughter? How did your daughter find out about your? Because you're a mother of, yeah, she's even past teens age. She's mother of a
No,
young
she's
adult.
23 now.
Exactly, young
She's a young
adult.
adult. Yes, she is.
And I mean, with managing your health and managing, at least thank God she's past the teenage phase. I don't know whether she
Yes.
was a teenager or she was she was not a handful.
I think, Sometimes I think God gave me exactly what I could handle. So, the thing with parenting, well, as being the mother that has the sickle cell, basically, she saw that I would sometimes be away from home in hospital, or that I would need to be in bed and just like, mommy needs some quiet and all of that. So she saw that, she understood it. I'm not sure when we exactly had the conversation,
Talk.
because, yeah, as she was growing up, she saw that when I wake up in the morning, I take medication. And I'm sure at some, children are curious. I'm sure at some point when she was about 3, I probably explained to her, but then she didn't understand it until she was then in school. And then there was one day they had the talk. You know that talk they do in biology about AS and SS that everybody knows, but forgets when they leave secondary school. That talk, we will come to that talk. They had that talk in school. So she comes home and says, "Oh, they taught them about sickle cell in school today." Like, almost like, "Oh, is that what you've been saying?" you know? And then we had a long conversation about it and all of that. Okay, so you don't have it, but mommy has it, and this is how you got it. That's how you get it, and all. So we had that conversation. So she's always sort of like, and of course, as she grew older, she became more responsible. She's looking after me. She's the one asking me in the morning, "Mommy, I'm taking your medicine." I'm like,
Yeah.
I used to take medicine before you were born now. you know. So she then takes on that role, and she's checking on me and making sure, and sometimes she'll call me and like, you're not in bed yet, you should sleep or get some rest, that kind of thing. So she sort of she understands the science of it, she understands how I deal with it.
Mm.
And I think luckily she's always seen me be the person who's like always up and doing and just really getting busy, which I think for her, she told me, was a bit of like pressure, like, okay, mommy has sickle cell and she's doing all this one. What is my what is my excuse for not doing a lot? And I'm like, no pressure, girl. Just do you. But yes, it is the challenge, I think, is that when you are the mother of the child that has sickle cell, I think one, from what I hear from parents who have children with sickle cell, is that the parents themselves take it hard. They feel
Yeah.
guilty. They
Mhm.
see their child going through this excruciating experience, and there's nothing they can do short of it's just sorry and pray and all of that. But you will see that this child is in so much pain. Even when you're in hospital, they're getting all sorts of drugs and nothing seems to be working. So for parents, it's hard, because they then start to question themselves. For parents who really care, like, why did I do this? How did I even do this? What was I thinking? And
Mm.
it's I've had parents who say that to me, that, and then of the parents who also then all have tried not to do this and have
Mm.
ended up having children with sickle cell. So you hear those stories a lot. So the mother
Yeah.
says, I knew I was AS. I was looking for a man who is AA. And I tried. I rejected two. The third one I married, he said he was AA. After they got
Exactly.
married, they have children. The child is
Yeah.
SS. What happened? Then they test again. The man is AS. How did that happen? You
Yeah.
hear
A
these
lot of
stories
that.
a lot. And
Yeah, a
for those
lot of
for
that.
those mothers, it is such a heartbreaking experience, because
Mm.
they tried to avoid it. Then they have this child that is in so much pain, and it just feels like, how could I have done this? I can't even imagine what it is, how they deal with themselves emotionally. So I think that part of it is, again, conversations that need to be had. Mothers of children with sickle cell need to talk to each other and
Yeah.
help each other through that emotional turmoil and trauma, and just help each other accept, because I say to these mothers that it's happened, right? And you can see that I'm
Yeah.
doing okay. And there are other examples I can show you of people who are surviving and thriving. So let's focus on making your child able to survive and thrive. And let's
Yeah.
not think about um, how you got here in the first place. But I can imagine that it's a big emotional issue for them.
Okay, so for somebody who has been, should I say, on both sides of the fence, one, you've been a child of, you are as a sickle cell warrior, being a child, and then you are now a mother. What would you say to parents who, you've already said part of it, but who look at their child and have that is either the opposite effect of, this child cannot do anything, let me just, don't do this, don't do that, and or the other one is, don't be lazy, you're a burden to me, all that stuff. What would you say to those sets of people
Ah,
to be able to encourage them?
you see, for the ones who feel bad, I think my mother said to me that for her and for how she approached it, perhaps the way I approach everything in life is almost like, okay, we're here now. How do we make it better? What do we need to do
Mm,
practically? So, research, empower yourself, learn what you need to do, learn how to look after your child, make sure that he or she is well hydrated, taking their meds, see the doctors regularly. Just do, and you'll find that if you can even just do those things and do it properly and follow doctor's orders, your child will have a relatively okay experience as opposed to the panic and not actually doing anything, in which case it means that you're just letting this child even be more sick. So I think it's be practical, focus, find places like SAMI and other NGOs who are providing information, who are providing support, and learn about it. Find doctors who are specialists. Find people who are living with it and talk to them and see what it is they're doing. Just equip yourself with information, and you'll be able to help your child make better decisions. What was the second half of your question, to
the second half was, they don't feel that this child is lazy, Jare, this child is a burden. That was the opposite end. You always have two
Yes,
extremes.
that thing is so sad. It's so sad. Remember, we had that case at Sammy's in the clinic the
Mm,
other time. It
yeah,
is
yeah.
so heartbreaking when I see children that they're clearly not being looked after. But the thing is that what I know is that sometimes it's a result of poverty, and that is
Mm,
not even just about the sickle cell. It's just about everything. Those parents too
yeah.
are just struggling to even put make ends meet for even themselves, not to talk about for a child.
Mm,
And they're just at their wits' end as to what to do, what next. Again, for those people, what they need is support. If they're able to find support, if they're able to find someone who's able to say, okay, here's what you need for this child, and they don't feel it's a financial burden, that helps them a little bit. If somebody is able to educate them so they understand, because even up till now, there's still also these myths about
mhm.
evil
It
spirits
was
and things and
exactly.
things. So sometimes again, it's also education. Let them understand that this child is just a human being like anybody else. There's none of that mumbo jumbo that you're thinking about. So again, for those people, I think that what it is they need to is the right support, the right education, listening or hearing from the right people, finding places where they can find um, medication, treatment, and whatever else that their child needs for them.
Mm,
Unfortunately, we live in a world where things are not balanced. I mean, we're doing what we can, but we know that there's so many people out there that still need help.
exactly, exactly. And then there's also the other end where we have warriors who, quote unquote, take advantage of these situations.
Yeah. Yes.
And they end up, I mean, I would like, I don't know whether to use the word dependent, or they feel that, oh, woe is me, I can't do, so I must get all the help I can and not lift a finger. What would you say to somebody like that who has that kind of mindset, who believes like, maybe they said, Apuku, so
Yes. I've met a few like that. And
yeah.
there are a couple like that on my timeline right now, and but you see, the thing about it, though, Toyin, is that it's not so much that they're warriors. It
Mm,
is that they are people who have that kind of mindset, warriors or
mindset.
not.
Yeah.
So there are other people who may not have sickle cell, but have that kind of mindset that the world owes them something. And they're the kind of people who will ask for, you will support them to start a business. The business runs down, and somehow it's your fault because you didn't just give them enough money,
So
or you
what
didn't
I
give them
know,
enough help, or you did. So they're human beings
yeah.
like that, warriors or non-warriors, they are human beings like that. And I feel like
Mm.
that's really the issue. It's that entitlement mindset. It's that mindset of, and it just happens that they now have sickle cell, and it's one more lever that they can use to make you feel sorry for them and to help them. But if they didn't have sickle cell, they would still have that kind of mindset as well. For people like that, you do what you can. You try and bring them up, help them, give them skills. But if all they want is to be a victim because they want handouts, then there's really not much you can do about it except to just educate them the best you can.
Okay, so I'll take this question. It said, have you had any lost stories of lost opportunities, whether career, relationship, business, stuff like that,
Um,
because of
hmm.
your situation? And how did you bounce back?
How do you bounce back? You just bounce, Neil. Okay, so
Yeah,
when you think about
I
it,
know.
I have had lost opportunities, and I think I mentioned one of them in the book. I remember checking myself out of hospital and going for a job interview. I was having a crisis. I was on admission.
Chai.
Day two or day three was supposed to be a day I was supposed to have an interview, and I just thought it was just a job that I wanted. I can't remember which bank it was. I just wanted that job. So I said, I'm fine. I left hospital. I went home. I was in pain. No, drank all the medicine I could take, hot bath, just like let me just get there. Once they see my face, they will hire me. They didn't hire me because I looked sick. I looked like there was
Yeah.
something terribly wrong with me. So they didn't hire me. But there's so many other things. Even I don't
Mhm.
know if some people have decided not to work with me or give me some opportunities because they've made that decision.
Mhm.
It's possible. But I have tried to do the things that interest me, and I've tried to focus on what is in front of me, what I can get. And there are times too
Mm.
when I have said no to some opportunities because I just felt, this just sounds too stressful for me. It's
Yeah.
a good idea, it's a good opportunity for someone, but for me, I'm not sure I'll be able to keep up. So therefore, I don't want. So I've there have been cases where I have pulled back from some opportunities just because I just thought, this might be more than my body can handle, and I don't
Mm.
really want to do this. I remember as a child, I actually wanted to I wanted to fly. I wanted to either be a pilot or an air hostess. The other time, like in the 70s,
I
early
know.
80s, it just
Like
seemed
when
so
I wanted to
exotic.
say
It seemed like such exotic work to be flying all around. Ah, but I think when I was it seven, that was the first time I flew with my mother, and I had this crisis once I entered the plane. I knew that the plane and myself did not agree, but I still used to dream about that thing. That one day I would have a career, and I would be flying planes, or I would be an air hostess or something like that. For a long time, I wanted it to. Even by the time I was doing jam, I was wondering which school you have to go to be a pilot. Even
oh
though I knew that myself and flying just don't agree. I mean,
dear.
I've worked in many places where I've had to travel a lot for work, and I've learned
Mm.
how to deal with it. I know how to take my meds and give myself time, make sure that I have an extra day to rest and everything. But every time I get on a plane, every time, even 1 hour flights, I will feel a bit one kind.
Mm.
6 hour flight, I will have a crisis. Anything longer, give me 2 days to recover. But I feel like I've dealt with this the best way I can. I've taken job. I've still been able to do jobs
Just
where I had
okay.
to travel, and I've still been able to deal with it. So yeah, there are many. You see, I think for me, what I always say is that even when you feel like it's a lost opportunity, I think you should focus on what you can do. Focus on the
Yeah.
things that you can do. I'm pretty
Mm.
sure a few relationships have gone awry because I had sickle
Mhm.
cell.
Yeah. Yes.
Um,
Have
But
my
you
share.
know,
Have
yeah, you move on. You like, right? You're lost.
you?
You're lost, and you move on.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
have
not
you?
easy.
So let me take these questions by Turayo. I'm very interested in tech, but it seems there are so many aspects of computing to study that I'm not sure where to start. Negative automatic thoughts stop me from a lot of choices. I first believed my body could not manage the stress of pregnancy. I'm 42 now and I'm heartbroken over not having a child.
I'm okay.
Whoa.
I feel you. Yes, yes.
Let me take it because a lot.
Woof,
Yeah,
woof,
I feel
woof.
you too.
It's a lot, and I feel you. I feel you. I really understand what you're saying about that. And you know what? It is. It's probably not too late for that second part, and not for the first, and
Yes.
even definitely not too late for the first
Even
part
not
as well.
the first class, yes.
Yes, definitely not too late for the first part, and probably not too
Not
late for
even
the
the
second
second
part.
part either. You just
Exactly. I think
have
it's
decided to
it's
adopt.
you.
This is what I was going to suggest. I know some
Yeah.
people who just did
See, even if she wants
single
to do it
parents.
biologically at 42, she can still do it. But I think what it is that you really have to think about is one, um, it's like the tech thing that you said. Why can't you
Mm,
do it? In fact, as far as I'm concerned, my choice of a career in tech has been one of the biggest blessings of my life that I didn't realize at the time I was making that choice
mm,
because of the way that I can use technology from, gosh, almost, where are we now? From almost like 15 years ago, I have
mhm,
been deciding what time I work, which day I work, where I work from, all because of this technology. I've been able to work from home. I've been able to set my own hours just because I can use technology. So don't be afraid of technology is wide. And there's
mm.
something that's not wide. Even if you were going to be a doctor today, it's wide. You can be
Yeah,
general practitioner, you can specialize in the heart, in leg, in bone, in eyes. There's always a wide spectrum.
exactly.
Start with what are your natural skills? What are you interested in? And then take it from there. I can't give you that full advice here because you would have to speak back to me. So feel free to like DM me and let's have a conversation. But it is not too late for you to get a career in technology because any technology right now is anything from even just digital marketing to um, being able to build websites, to then obviously learning programming or even no code
Yeah,
program. There's so
let
many
me
things.
give you
So it's
so
not
many
too
aspects
late.
of technology.
So many aspects. It's not too late for you.
Even
Don't even
graphics
think about it.
designing is part of technology, so it's
Exactly.
very wide. You just have to find what you are
Yeah.
passionate about more.
Yes.
And nowadays, God has made it that there's so much information on where to learn without even at least just practice with the little. Then when you want to progress to
Yes.
a more advanced stage, you can now pay for it and all that stuff.
There's so
Yeah,
many free tools out there, free
True,
resources. You can
there's so
upgrade your
many.
skills without spending money.
And,
So
and,
yeah.
and Exactly. I mean, I'm the type of person, I mean, I just keep taking informations. I will just pack them. If you know the amount of free courses I have on Udemy,
Do you know I checked
I
yesterday
think that
on
now
Udemy? I had like 20 courses on
20,
Udemy
mine
I
is
have not
40.
taken.
And that is just the free one. Not even I'm not
Yeah,
counted the
so
paid one.
the paid ones. Oh dear.
Oh, oh. Anyway, all right. Any more questions, comments? Let me take some more questions on my. Let's talk about your book now. Before we, because I know time is almost soon rounding up. Let's talk. It's going to be opened in October, or is it this month? October or this month? I
It's
forgot.
October. It's October.
Okay.
So, because September is Sickle Cell Awareness Month, I'm talking a
Mm,
lot about sickle cell this month because I feel like every September I think to myself, do a little bit of
mhm,
awareness and
mm,
just contribute my bits to talking about sickle cell and raising
yeah.
awareness and just um, talking about the cause. But the book was scheduled to come out in October because, like I said, my birthday is in October. and I just thought that it would be a good way to mark my birthday to have the book come out at the same time. I wrote the book again because of all the of things that we're talking about here, just really to share, to let other people know that you can survive, you can thrive. There's life past sickle cell. It is
Yep.
not, and again, just to shake this stigma thing, there shouldn't be
Mm,
stigma with sickle cell in 2020. We kind of should have moved past that. And so it's my way of contributing to all of this. And some of the proceeds of the book will also go to my favorite charities, Sammy being one of them, and the Sickle Cell
thank you, thank you,
Foundation.
thank you.
Yes. So, I, so I encourage people who have sickle cell or who are parents of children with sickle cell or just have a loved one with sickle cell to uh, write the book, have an open mind, and just try to see that there is more to life
Mm,
apart from the sickle cell. It is a big deal, and I'm not trying to make it a small thing. Having sickle cell it is a serious illness. It can be fatal if you have a crisis in the wrong part of your body at the wrong time.
yeah.
It can be fatal, but at the same time, we have warriors who have lived till their 80s, their 90s,
Mhm.
and it's important that we balance that. Okay, it is a chronic illness, it is a serious illness, and it requires research, funding, all of that. These are all the things that all this awareness that we're doing is supposed to in aid of. But as a person who has sickle cell or who's looking after someone who has sickle cell, also want to give you some hope that it's more than just being sick all the time and the hospital bills, that there is life past that as well.
Exactly. And it's to me, it's even more than just for people with sickle cell or related to sick. Just for anybody who wants to know about sickle cell, or especially for young people who are just, it helps change a lot of mindsets about what people with sickle cell go through, what they achieve, because I think it brings that mentality that, oh, people are seeing with sickle cell in one kind of formation. Let's put it that
Yes,
way,
yes.
and
Mm-hmm.
just look through a day. It's like a day in the life of somebody living with sickle cell.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
please go and pre-order is available, right? Pre-order is
Yes,
available.
yes, yes. Pre-order is
So please
available.
share the link
The
if you
I will
can.
share the link. I'm not sure how I share the link, but I'll share the link. I'll put it in the chat. I'll put it in the
Okay.
chat when we're done so that I don't disrupt the video. I'll drop it in the chat. The link is there. The book is The Warrior Within. So the link is thewarriorwithin.bankealawaye.com, but I will put it in the chat so that you can just click on it. You can pre-order the book. And also, like you said, it's not just about people with sickle cell. It's really just think about it as a feel-good mindset reorientation kind of book, the kind of thing that makes you feel like, I can do anything I set my mind to. And, it's not really just only about overcoming sickle cell.
Exactly, exactly. And it's very important to be able to read books that people have been gone through all sorts. I hope that's correct. Is this correct?
The warrior within.
Okay.
Yes, the word "the" is there.
Okay,
The
I'll
warrior
correct.
within. Yes.
Uh, okay. So all right, I'll correct that. So guys, it's the warrior within.
Yes,
So
the
I was like
warrior
I was
within.
saying, it's interesting that it's good to see people who are inspiring other people to do anything, because challenges differ. I always tell people, don't wallow in self-pity, because you think you have problem, wait till you see the second person. I've been through
I
situations
know.
where I know, as somebody with sickle cell, I always make this joke, I've been through everything possible a person with sickle cell could have. But when I look at some other people, I still thank God for all I went through and not what the other person is going through. So
You know?
it's very important that we get inspired to see that no matter what limitations we have, whether it's societal limitations, mental limitations, physical limitations, or just limitations of how people see us or we see ourselves. It's very important to realize that there are people who go through different challenges, but they're able to
Yes.
overcome it. uh,
Yes.
so one final thing we're talking about, going back to our thing, together we can, what do you think, or how do you think people, whether warriors, parents, society, government, organizations, how can we come together to speak a proper narrative about sickle cell so that things are improved, things are changed? I know in a country like Nigeria, we struggle with so many issues, but even if it's just a little bit, just a
See,
little bit,
that's a tall question. We probably should have started with that, and we would have talked about it for an hour and still be talking about it.
you can
But
still go on, not
but I think the thing is this: is that there's that saying about when good people do nothing, and I think the thing is that we must all just continue to do the very little bits that we can. Just as your theme
exactly.
says, together we can. You speak, I speak. We encourage somebody in government for a policy that we think is going to be beneficial. We encourage people who are doing research. We talk about the fact that sickle cell gets less funding than most other diseases and yet
Mhm.
affects more people. I think I saw recently that the number, because I used to think the number in Nigeria was like 100,000 a year, but I think it's now 250 or 350,000 a year. Children are born with sickle cell every year, and I think that that is still a very high number. That is still
Yeah.
a very high number, and it's still a very high number. The mortality rates, where we're saying that 70% of those children don't make it to age 5, that is still a lot. For
Mhm.
something that has been around for so long, for when you think about how research is funded and all of that, sickle cell is still getting very little of that. And we cannot stop having these conversations and
Yeah.
pushing and getting our leaders to think about it and just basically standing up and be counted. That is it. We have to continue to do it.
So, okay, my final question, still to do with the same area. We're going to, I was talking about fertility and everything. But the thing about sickle cell, everybody's telling a different story, they're speaking a different language. So there's no unity, there's no oneness. And I always say that when we're not together as one, how do you expect the other people to hear us? So, what would you say is the most important thing in us coming together as
Hmm.
people concerned with sickle cell to be able to speak? Yeah, I think
Well,
I'm going to have you. Oh no.
I sort of feel like that question is really for you, but
No,
it is. It's your
it's
question.
good. It's good. It's good to have an outside perspective.
Well, it's a hard one because
I know.
you see, for me, I think that the first thing is that we keep saying it's advocacy, advocacy, and sometimes it feels like is that all we're supposed to be doing, talking, talking, talking? But I think it's important because all the things that we talked about now, we talked
Mm,
about the parents who will not even look after her child because she thinks if this child has sickle cell, that's the end. So that person needs knowledge, and it's only
mm,
advocacy that takes the information to that person. We're talking about the people who are about to embark on a life together and knowing what um, genotype is and why it should matter to them and why they should care about
mm,
things like that. And why, even if they find themselves in this situation, they should get genetic counseling so that they know how to
exactly.
deal with it. So, all of these things, it's advocacy that brings this information to all the people that need to have it. Now, there are other layers, obviously. We can't take away the fact that I just talked about funding. I just talked about the fact we don't have enough specialists in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's like if you really think about it, you can probably count them on your digits, the number
Yeah,
of sickle cell specialists that we
mycologist,
have in this
exactly.
country. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is a big problem as in itself. But it's like which problem do we solve? We have to continue to pull at it from all the different angles. The
Yeah.
advocacy issue is a problem, the funding issue is a problem, the having people who can treat it, the specialists, the access to drugs, all of it. Everything is important. But I think if I were to say where do we start, maybe I'd say advocacy. I think it's important that people understand, they know, they have access to information. I think that will help them make better decisions, and that would even help outcomes of these other things we're talking about.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much, Banke. Great to have you
Thank
again.
you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It has been my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, Toy. And happy birthday to you again. It was your birthday
Yes,
this last
so the
week.
50s have arrived. Well, I don't pass 50 or 55, but still, it's still 50, sha.
It's still 50 somewhere, it's still in the 50s now.
So guys, just spread the word, help share. Thank you for listening. I hope you are inspired to be able to speak out more, even if you don't have sickle cell. Educate the person next to you. Let's change the mindset of people towards sickle cell, and let's look at sickle cell. Yes, it has its challenges, but there's always the positive side to everything. I always say one thing. There's one thing I always say, and is that God would never give you more than you can handle. Because he
Amen.
knows you can handle it.
Yes, yes,
You may
oh yes,
think
he
that you
does.
cannot handle it, but I can assure you can handle it. And that is why he has given us potentials to be the best we can in whatever sphere of influence we are. It's just for us to find that purpose and that talent, skill, whatever it is that you can use to be able to push ourselves and inspire others in return, because that's ultimately what we are brought here to do. Thank you, Banke, once again for
Thank you,
being on the
Toy. Thank you.
show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been a fun hour having this conversation with you. Thank you,
Yeah,
everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
maybe you know this person. It says big sis. Oh, it's the wrong one. I was showing. Said I'm mega
Yes,
proud of
that's my
you.
sister. Thank you, sis. I'm glad you tuned in. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
I
Thank
thought
you,
I was
sis.
going to show it.
Yes, that is my big sister. Mwah. Thank you.
Oh, Muiwa says very inspirational. Hey, Muye MG. Thank you very much. Uh, Thank you all for watching. Our time has fast gone, and this has been a production of Sickle Cell Advocacy and Management Initiative, SAMI, and it is supported by the Public Affairs section of the U.S. Consulate. Until we bring another guest on Saturday, this time at 8 o'clock. We have a slight time shift, but we'll be bringing another guest to inspire you. This time she's living in UK, and we're going to get her own perspective as a mother and as someone living with sickle cell. All right, till next week. Have a lovely, 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 lovely time.
Thank you.
Bye all.
Bye.